well, remember, when you get promoted to a new job, what you don't want to do is let go of your franchise player and then say defense wins championships and then have one of the worst offensive ratings in the league currently, ironically, be in a top 5 draft lottery position again after one could argue the NBA kind of gave you that first round pick and now be putting unemployed in your Instagram bio. AKA, do not be Nico Harrison. So earlier this week, the Dallas Mavericks saga with Nico Harrison being at the helm of the general manager office for that ball club has officially ended. He's fired. He's gone. That stench is out, right? I feel like after February 1st, trading Luka Doncic on the first day of Black History Month, he probably should have already lost his job, right? But, in April, he was saying defense wins championships. Stay with me. Stick with me, guys. It's like that Steph Curry tweet when he got drafted to the Warriors, like, Dub Nation, stick with me. I promise we're going to figure this out. Well, Steph Curry did eventually figure it out. 6 years later, Nico Harrison, you did not have 6 years. You had 9 months. You got Cooper Flagg in the first round, which was great, but it seemed like, actually, let's just start from the beginning, right? First, trading Luka Doncic. I want to go back to what he said in April before we even dive into Cooper Flagg at all. He said defense wins championships. Well, let's look at it, right? You constructed a team around Luka Doncic because the crazy thing about this is that Nico Harrison was hooping in that GM position prior to letting Luka Doncic go. Yes, you lost Porzingis. Yes, you gave the New York Knicks their now franchise star in Jalen Brunson for not throwing him a bag. But still, you got Kyrie Irving for Dinwiddie and picks. You got guys like Najee Marshall, PJ Washington. You got guys like a Klay Thompson after that 2024 finals loss. Mind you, that team with Kyrie, that Luka-Kyrie team went to the NBA Finals. We have to remember that. That team went to the NBA Finals, lost to 5 against the Boston Celtics, simply just did not have enough depth. I mean, they had Washington, they had Gafford, they had Lively, they had Kyrie, they had Luka. You're going against a Boston team with Drew Holiday, Porzingis, Tatum, Brown, Pritchard, White. It's like, all right, bro, that's just not going to be a winnable matchup. But still, you go to the NBA Finals. You lock up a guy like Jalen Williams, a.k.a. J-Dub, in the 2024 Western Conference semifinals, beat the now reigning defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder in 6 games. One could argue that missed three-point call may have forced a game 7, but still, you beat them in 6. You roll through the Minnesota Timberwolves, a Timberwolves team who has now gone back to the Western Conference Finals, losing Karl Anthony Towns, right? Still going back to the Western Conference Finals. That win has aged extremely well, getting them out of there in 5 games. First round, you handle business as well. Now it's like, okay, we have Luka, we have other guys, we have Klay, we have Marshall, we have other pieces. At the time, you had Quentin Grimes as well, great young piece. War Thunder. Let me know if y'all played this game before I get these Luka highlights back on. But as I was saying, right, you've got Marshall, you've got Thompson. At the time, you had Quentin Grimes. I don't understand trading Quentin Grimes for Caleb Martin, but I digress. You have those pieces, and now it's like, okay, now we got ourselves a squad. Now we're building. Now we're positioning ourselves to still be that number 1, number 2 team in the West and eventually position ourselves for another Luka Doncic-led championship run. We got him the 2 that works really well with Kyrie Irving, and Kyrie Irving is a guy who in that Dallas Mavericks system really ingratiated himself so beautifully, not only as a primary scorer or secondary scorer to Luka Doncic, but also as a facilitator, right? Remember, the Mavericks went 9-1 without Luka Doncic when Kyrie Irving was at the helm in that 2024 season as well. Great stuff there. I don't really, get it at all. I still don't 9 months later. I was a person who I did believe the hype. I said, oh my goodness, AD, Gafford, Lively, PJ, Marshall, Klay, Kyrie, and you got Quentin Grimes. They didn't trade him for Caleb Martin yet. And you got Jalen Hardy. I still believe in Jalen Hardy. I don't think anybody else does, and that's completely fine. But you have him. You've got pieces. You got Max Christie. You got a first-round pick. I'm thinking, Dallas is probably going to win this trade within the next 1 to 2 years. Well, then Kyrie goes out for the season ACL. AD's currently dealing with a calf strain. But speaking of that first-round pick, that one first-round pick you got from the Luka Doncic trade, which is absolutely crazy to me, right? Because I just think, let's play devil's advocate for a bit here. Let's say that Nico Harrison is a scapegoat. Let's say that it's not defense wins championships. It's none of that. It's a lot simpler. Luka Doncic was eligible for about a $950 million extension. The Dallas Mavericks don't want to pay that. Get him out of here before we have to pay him 350 M's. We trade him. I don't understand why you do that. And then from there, you don't really make moves to secure a guy like a KD, because we understand how important Luka Doncic is to the offense of the Dallas Mavericks. You say defense wins championships, but let's just say it was to get Luka out of there. I get it. I think Luka would have been willing to bargain if you said we're going to trade Kyrie for AD. You get that big, you get that piece, but now you're trading away offensive pieces. And for a guy like Luka Doncic, and this is my main point, I don't understand why, if it really was just getting rid of him, why you don't have the league go into a literal John Wick free-for-all to get Luka on their team. They were saying, oh, well, we contacted Milwaukee, another team, and we said Anthony Edwards for Luka swap. Minnesota said no. That's completely understandable from Minnesota's perspective. But one first-round pick for a perennial all-NBA generational talent, I don't understand that. We saw Rudy Gobert go for 4 to 5 first-round picks. We saw Mikal Bridges go for almost 6 first-round picks. Sometimes the trade market is really inflated, so I don't understand for Luka Doncic why you say Marquise Morris, Maxi Kleber, Luka is good, and in return we get AD, Max Christie, and a first-round pick. We'll never understand that. Now, going to the future of Dallas, or the past, but the future at the time for the Dallas Mavericks, you go 39-43, you get bounced out by the Memphis Grizzlies before you get to the NBA playoffs in that 8th seed game. You then get the number 1 pick in the 2025 NBA draft. Really funny, right? Less than 1% chance a team that went to the play-in tournament. This is like the Miami Heat getting the number 1 pick for all of the times they were like the 8th or 7th seed going into the play-in tournament, right? This is essentially the equivalent of that. I'm not going to say Silver did anything. I'm also not going to say that maybe, the Mavericks was a little bit of a magnet ball / thank you for giving the Lakers a reason to be relevant in the future type deal. Take this Cooper Flagg, big bro type pick. You draft Flagg. We're looking great. We're like, oh my goodness, 3 number 1 picks. We got AD, Kyrie, and Flagg. Oh my goodness, we're going to be unstoppable. Well, your team is about 3-9 right now. You have, a top 15 defensive rating in the league. You have the worst offensive rating in the league the last time I checked. You know what that means? It means your team does not generate enough points to be a contender or even win games. That's what that means. It means that Nico Harrison saying defense wins championships, but it isn't enough to win games? Is that what I'm hearing? Because you're a team that did get other defensive guys, right? I'm not saying D'Lo's a defensive guy, but Nico was very, very, very solidified on that defense wins championships thing. And then from there, you're not in a championship position. It's looking like we're going to get another ad. I had a feeling. This is RNTL, whatever that means. RNTL, shout out to y'all. But again, as I was saying, right, you get Cooper Flagg. You try to make this defensive-minded team. You say it wins championships, but it's not winning you games. It's not. It's not winning you games. It's not generating you offense. No disrespect to Cooper Flagg. Jason Kidd is doing the same thing that he did with Giannis. We said it on the channel. Video's probably going to pop up right now. We need to be patient with Flagg. He's playing him at PG. He's trying to get his facilitation skills up. Flagg is a 6'9". He's a strong guy. Obviously, he's somebody that just needs to grow and mature as a player, just in terms of game IQ, his feel, his pace, his aggression in the paint, the jump shot, all that. Obviously, also, I just feel like it's been like this fog over Flagg because his debut was literally Wemby making AD look like a child and Wemby dropping like 40, 15, and 3, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, the league is over, right? So I feel like Flagg really never got the chance to have a I'm here moment in the NBA, but he's dropped 20-point games since. He's gotten 10 assists a few of these times. Excuse me, not 10 assists, 10 rebounds a few of these times, 6, 7 assists. So he's done his thing, right? But he's not the generational talent when he came into the league that people thought he would be. And I think that's perfectly fine. I mean, it's rare that we see number 1 picks really become that level of star that quickly. Nobody's going to do LeBron James again. But to be fair, Cooper Flagg was in conversations where they were saying, well, he is the most complete and the most star-ready NBA candidate from America since LeBron James. That has not panned out so far, and that's completely fine. But when we just reflect on this Luka Doncic, Nico Harrison saga, it really just shows that GMs sometimes are extremely out of touch with what the players need. It's not even about what the fans want. It's really about what works best for teams and combinations. When we look at a guy like a Sam Presti, he loves picks, but on top of that, he's built a team around Shea that really complements. I just had to make sure it wasn't an ad. Speaking of the Thunder, look who's on the screen right now. But Sam Presti has built a team that complement Shea and Chet and J-Dub so well. When we look at what Brad Stevens has done in the past, he built a team that complemented Brown and JT so well. But when we look at a guy sometimes like a Mike Dunleavy Jr. for the Golden State Warriors, sometimes you do wonder the pieces he's holding on to, the trades they maybe didn't make. Was it worth it to keep those young guys in their future when you do have Stephen Curry, Jimmy, Dre still ready to win, but instead of making those trigger moves like a Lauri Markkanen, like potentially, a Kevin Durant and Jimmy Butler a few years earlier, right? Other guys. You had Al Horford, who you finally got from the market, but you were hearing moves about Giannis, Cat, etc. Why not go after those moves more aggressively if you can have a strong two with Stephen Curry, Cam Johnson, Zach LaVine, right? That whole guys that you can package alongside trading Kuminga and Moody, those types of things. I think GMs just sometimes miss the mark in terms of what's best for the team actually winning. The Dallas Mavericks are going to get another top pick just because they're not good this year if they keep it up. You got Cooper Flagg, that's great, but now you don't have a GM, you don't have a star. They're considering blowing the team up, right? AD might leave. Clay rejected a 4-year, $80 million deal to get $353 million to play with Luka Doncic. Kyrie wanted to play with Luka Doncic. He still calls him mi hermano. That's his brother. All these guys you got on this team are because of the opportunity to play with Luka Doncic. I'm not saying AD isn't great, but AD's not Luka Doncic. And most of these guys are probably going to leave. So it's like, where does that leave you? Are you going to get draft capital back? Are you going to be an attractive team? Even with Nico Harrison out, are you going to have a GM that's going to be attractive enough to draw big players and big stars after how y'all literally did the biggest thing? Like, imagine you go from Dirk getting a ring to now literally baby Dirk. I'm not saying their games between Luka Doncic and Dirk Nowitzki are similar, but essentially you go from one European megastar to a European megastar. I'm not saying Dirk wasn't like huge, especially that 2011 run, but it's like, okay, he's him. Luka could be in these GOAT combos in about 10 to 15 years. That's what we were saying in that 2021, 22, 23 run, even 24 run where Luka was averaging like 33, 9 and 9. Like, come on, man. And it's so crazy he didn't get MVP that year. But the Dallas Mavericks, you got to look at yourself in the mirror. NBA GMs, you also got to look at yourself in the mirror, because when push comes to shove, you got to make your star talent happy. I'm not talking about a star like, I'm not dissing somebody when I say this, so I don't want to really name anyone in particular, but there's a difference between generational talents and guys who were all-star for one season. There's a difference. If it's a young team like the Wizards, they're already tanking, you can rebuild and really build with those guys and grind, sure. But you had a generational talent in Luka Doncic, and your front office simply crapped the bed. Absolutely unacceptable. But with that being said, though, guys, that is going to do it for us today. Again, as always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow the TikTok and the Instagram down below for daily basketball content. And again, thank you so much for the support on the Draymond Green video. It really means a lot to us. As we said, we're going for 48, so from November 13th to January 1st, we're going to get one video at least per day for this channel. Again, as always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow all of our socials in the description for more Rois, more Samajai, more Sean, more Chad, more Daniel, more Marcus, and more Joachim, myself, and yeah, I don't know what else to say about the Dallas Mavericks and specifically Nico Harrison that hasn't already been said, but this was just abysmal on so many fronts. And hopefully GMs take notes, man, because what players are going to do from this is start picking themselves first. They're all going to do what Kevin Durant did. No franchise loyalty. I'm not saying that KD is a snake or rat in any way if he does see this. I'm just saying KD chose himself in the best position to win. And when you see what these franchises do to loyal players, you are going to be as a player like, well, I can get a bag anywhere and I can get guys to play with me and I can probably get a ring. Do I care more about these fans and what I'm building, or do I care more about what I want to do for myself and what I want to get out of basketball? So it's going to be really interesting combos that players will be having with themselves in their camps as well going forward. But for the last time, again, as always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we will see you all in the next one.